Yo, what's up guys? We're back with another video today, and in today's video guys, I'm going to be talking about the most undeserving title shots in the UFC in recent years. Now, I'm only going to be referring to recent fights, like from 2023 to 2024, because we've had a lot of undeserving title shots in the span of like a year and a half. Like, we have got like 5 of them, which is kind of crazy. It's getting really bad for the UFC. So without further ado, let's get into them. Alright, the first one we have, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. This one took place at the end of 2023, so it was like only like a year ago, which is kind of crazy. It feels like it was like only like a couple months ago, really. But yeah, this one was so undeserving. I remember a point in the UFC where the welterweight division was just on froze. Like, it was just frozen. We were waiting for Leon Edwards and Colby Covington to be announced. None of the top-ranked welterweights were fighting. It was like a good, I'd say, 2 to 3 months of, like, no fight news from the top-ranked welterweights. And then, the moment this gets announced, bam, all the top welterweights are now fighting. And as far as this fight goes, there's literally no, like, I don't get why they gave it to Colby. Dana said that, I remember a clip of Dana White trying to justify his decision to give it to Colby because he was the backup fighter for Edwards and Usman 3, like the third fight, which was back in like March or something. I mean, good for Colby for stepping in as a backup fighter, but that doesn't deserve that. Like, there's no justification for that being a title shot. There's literally no justification. He had a win over Jorge Masvidal at the time, but Jorge had retired, I believe, like a month later after he weighed in as the backup fighter for Edwards and Usman. And then what happened, guys? Colby Covington got beaten up terribly by Leon Edwards, and then everyone was like, yeah, Colby Covington should never fight for a title shot again. He then fights a top-ranked contender finally, and then loses even worse. Like, it's over for Colby Covington now. It's just over for him. So, he's out of the title picture, guys. It's over for him. If he somehow gets another title shot, I'll be amazed. But it's not happening, guys. Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. Out of all the title ones that we have on here, this is probably the most justified one, right? Because at least Israel Adesanya had fought, like, not too long ago. Like, this fight took place in August, and Adesanya's last fight was in September, right? And Adesanya was the former champion. Like, he had a long reign, and he lost his belt back in 2023. So, there was a level of justification to this fight, right? And I could somewhat see it. And I don't think people were that upset about this one. Like, there were people who were obviously like, yo, why is Adesanya getting a title shot when Strickland just got a win over Paulo Costa? And I do agree. I think at the time, Sean Strickland should have gotten the title shot. I don't think it now, since Khamzat destroyed Robert Whittaker, guys. Nobody does that to Robert Whittaker. Okay, I'm going to stop with that. Probably not. You're going to see me say that more. But, like, Israel didn't really, there was like no point. I feel like the division was like moving away from Adesanya being the champion. And maybe, and like in fairness, Adesanya did perform pretty good against Dricus. He was, I had him winning the fight up until Dricus submitted him. And I don't think people like were complaining about it as much because, you know, Adesanya was the former champion, like I said before, guys. But now I've seen a lot more people saying, why was this fight made? This was like such an undeserving title shot. Adesanya was like 1 and 2 in his last 3. And even before that, he was like, I think like 2 or like 3 and 3 in his last 6 or something like that before he fought Dricus. And then he lost to Dricus. So now I feel like if Israel wins against Imavov, the Dagestanian guy, he'll probably get another title shot. And I think people will then start to complain because, I mean, I feel like Adesanya needs like a couple more wins before he fights for a title. Maybe like 2 wins, but he shouldn't get the title shot after beating Imavov. God, no. Alright, now we have Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. The only reason this fight was made, guys, is literally because Sean O'Malley just wanted to get that win over Marlon Vera, because in his mind, he thinks he didn't lose that fight. But obviously he didn't. He lost that fight. And Sean O'Malley wanted to like show the world, like, look what happens when I don't have any injuries in that fight. I school Marlon Vera. That was literally the only reason why this fight happened, guys. And to be honest, I didn't really care about this fight. Like, I don't care about Marlon Vera that much. I just see him as like a top ranked like bantamweight who just fights ranked guys. Like, there's not much I see about him. I don't see him as being a champion. And I didn't really care about this fight, guys, because Dustin Poirier was fighting underneath them. To me, that was the main event. I feel like a lot of people, that was like the main event. It had a lot more traction, a lot more views, a lot more tension was going into that card. And I also remember, like, for UFC 299, they made that card super stacked. Like, and they say, the UFC says that Sean O'Malley is like the biggest star in the UFC, guys. But then they start stacking the Miami card, which was what O'Malley was fighting on, and it just makes me think, well, if O'Malley's a big star, why does he have to have a card like so stacked? Like, I'm not complaining, like, the card was great, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, it's just me like observing, like, if Sean O'Malley's a big star, why is he making a card? Why is he getting a card that's like so stacked? Like, you got Poirier, which Poirier is arguably a bigger star than Sean O'Malley was at that time, even when he was a champion, guys, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this fight was just not really. It was like, it was not deserving at all. It was like probably like the third most undeserving title shot this year. You'll see the other two more undeserving title shots in 2024, guys. Now, here we have the second most undeserving title shot, guys, in 2024. Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree. Now, here's the thing. Alex Pereira is one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter right now, guys. And this fight was amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. This was, like, fight of the year contender for me. I put it in my Oscar video. But, like, even with all that stuff, this is still, like, the second most undeserving title shot in recent years, guys. It's so undeserving. What did Khalil Rountree do to deserve this title shot? What did he do? What did he do to deserve this title shot, guys? Being Anthony Smith? That's Khalil's best win, being Anthony Smith. I like Khalil Rountree, and obviously in the fight, we saw that Khalil's actually, like, really good, and he would have definitely won against Jamal Hill, because I remember that fight got booked a while ago, but then it fell apart, obviously. But still, this was just such an undeserving title shot. Like, Khalil Rountree was on a winning streak, don't get me wrong. I think he was, like, on a 5 or 6 fight winning streak, but they were against bums. Even Anthony Smith at the time, I think he was like ranked 8th or something when they fought, like Khalil and Anthony Smith. But Anthony Smith is just not good. He's just not good anymore, guys. He really isn't. There was also like the point, like Magomed and Ankalaev. Why did Magomed and Ankalaev get the title shot and Khalil Rountree did? It definitely was a bit fishy. Like I remember when people were complaining about why Yuri got a title shot over Magomed back at like 303. But in my mind, I thought that was just a situational thing because Conor McGregor pulled out and they need to find a big fight to happen. So that was like one of the bigger fights they could do at that moment. So I didn't mind it, but this one was just so undeserving, guys. This one literally had no reason to be made. Magomed was clearly available. They booked him against a ranked opponent. I don't know. I feel like and even then, there's like more options. Okay, and here's the thing, guys. If the UFC said Magomed does not deserve a title shot at the moment, he needs to fight Rockage, and if he wins that, he gets a title shot, fair enough. But why Khalil Rountree? There were other guys who deserved it more. Volkan Oezdemir at the time, Jan Blachowicz, he had a very close fight with Alex Pereira. He arguably deserves it more. You know, it was just such an undeserving title shot, guys. It really was. Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. This one may come to a surprise to you guys, but here's a hot take. If you have only one win over a top-ranked bantamweight, or just one win over a ranked opponent in the division, you shouldn't be getting a title shot. Like, there's no reason that Umar should have gotten a title shot. The only reason he got a title shot, guys, is because of his last name. I guarantee you, if he didn't have the last name of Khabib Nurmagomedov, he would not have gotten a title shot. I guarantee you, he would not have gotten a title shot. But it's because he has the last name of Khabib and he's Dagestani, and that is literally the whole reason. Now, this isn't me saying that he's not skilled or anything. He's very skilled, and I am gonna pick him against Merab because he is a pretty skilled fighter, and he did basically 50-45 Corey Sandhagen. So there is a level of justification, but still, there were more options. Like Pereira, he destroyed Davison Figueiredo, a former champion, and destroyed he didn't destroy Song Yadong, but he had a very good win over Song Yadong. Pause. And I don't know. I don't think Umar should have gotten the title shot, to be honest. But guys, none of those compare to this one. John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. The most undeserving title shot ever. I'm going to say this is probably the most undeserving title shot like straight up ever. Anyone in the top 15 of that division deserved it more than Stipe Miocic at the time. Shamil Gaziev deserved it. Mitch Parkin deserved it. Derek Lewis deserved it. Like, even the guys who were losing in that division deserved it more than Stipe. Stipe was gone for 4 years. Like, everyone's talked about how undeserving this is. I think everyone knows. But yeah, I'm gonna rant about it. This was like the most undeserving title shot. I don't understand the UFC's mindset and Dana White's mindset for this fight being made. There was no justification. I remember Dana White saying, you know, like what, like we have to make this fight for Stipe because we gave an agreement to both Jones and Stipe that this fight was gonna be made, and it's just like, why are you making an agreement about this? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's like, and you could clearly tell that the UFC didn't really care. They didn't care about Stipe's legacy and all that stuff. I think the clearest thing was like, remember when they gave Robbie Lawler like a retirement video, like a farewell video at the end of his fight? They didn't give that to Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic was a veteran. He is the greatest heavyweight of all time in the UFC, and they didn't give him a farewell video or anything like that. They did Stipe so dirty after the fight, and it was just so clear that this was the most undeserving title shot ever. I'm gonna say it, like, you can make an argument that, like, Bisping versus Benson Henderson was a more undeserving title shot. You can make some arguments with some other fights, but to me, this one's just so, like, it's so just clear that this was, like just to make John Jones' legacy look good. But guys, that is me covering the most undeserving title shots in UFC in recent years. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!